Alright, let's see what we got here. It looks like our random encounter for this session is a dire corgi? Alright, fess up, who wrote this? Today I'm going to be sharing how I create random encounter cards for my role-playing games on this episode of The Local Disaster Tour Guide. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Mark and I am the Local Disaster Tour Guide. That's right, I'm a storyteller who knows that your future is all in the cards. Welcome to my channel where we talk about role-playing games like Pathfinder and Starfinder. Today I'm going to be doing a short video on some random encounter cards that I use for my role-playing games. I have found this system to be more interesting and engaging than the usual random encounter tables that often come with games like Pathfinder. And I want to talk about how I make these cards. I want to talk about how I get my players involved with these cards. And if you're interested in using something like this, I'll give you a few pointers on how you can make use of this in your game as well. Now, before we get going, I will say that the inspiration for this particular random encounter system that I use actually came from another YouTuber. There's a YouTuber by the name of Dael Kingsmill who runs the Monarch's Factory YouTube channel, and she talks about role-playing games and mythology and things like that, and she actually uses a variant of this system as a role-playing aid at her gaming table. And I want to give credit where credit is due. I actually borrowed her system as a role-playing aid, and it kind of morphed for my group into a system for generating random encounters. I honestly enjoy both systems, and my table actually uses both systems, but since she is the one who inspired the system at my table, I will give a link to her video. It'll either be up here somewhere or maybe down in the description, but I will throw a link to her original video. So if you're interested in seeing how to use this system as a role-playing aid, definitely go check out her channel. There is no official relationship between her channel and my channel, but I do think it is a good idea for DMs to always be on the lookout for sources of inspiration so that they can improve their games. And her channel is definitely a channel that has been a help to me as I've sought to improve my skills as a DM, and maybe it'll help you as well. But today we're going to talk about how to generate your own random encounter tables using a regular deck of playing cards. Let's get started. A tale of love, a tale of pain. A tale of loss, a tale of gain. These are the 4 different types of stories that you will be using to help generate random encounter cards that you can use at your gaming table. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I actually get my players involved with this. But the mnemonic is fairly simple. Using a standard deck of playing cards, you have 4 suits of cards: hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. And these correspond to the 4 different types of stories that you might be generating. Hearts correspond to a tale of love. Clubs correspond to a tale of pain. Spades correspond to a tale of loss. And diamonds correspond to a tale of gain. So inside of this box, I have a number of cards that are used to generate random encounters, and they correspond to those different types of stories. A tale of love, a tale of pain, a tale of loss, a tale of gain. When I'm preparing for a gaming session, what I like to do is I like to draw a card from a deck of playing cards and then open up this box and pull a card that I can use as inspiration for a random encounter. In this case, I have drawn hearts, so that would correspond to a tale of love. I go through my box and I look at the different cards that have been written down. This particular card has the players encountering a goblin wedding ceremony, while a second card references the classic tale of Romeo and Juliet. So I can take either of those 2 cards, or I can pick another one that's in the box and use that to develop a random encounter for the session that I am preparing. And the great thing about these cards is my players wrote most of them. That's right, one of the great things about this random encounter system is it's not actually a random encounter system that I am generating on my own, but rather it is a way for my players to be involved in fleshing out the game world, in creating interesting and unique encounters. My players are actually involved in this system. When I open up that box, my players are actually influencing the game world. The way that I do this is relatively simple. At the start of every gaming session, I pass around a deck of cards and allow everyone to draw a single card from the deck, and then I pass around some index cards. My players are instructed to look at the card that they drew and then write some inspiration for a random encounter based on the card that was drawn. So for example, if a player drew a spade, they would need to write down some inspiration for a tale of loss. They give me a card with 1 or 2 sentences as some inspiration. I put it in the random encounter box, and then next time that I'm planning a session, their card may become a random encounter added to the story that I am telling. It's really simple, it's really fun. My players really enjoy seeing if one of their stories ends up dropping in as a random encounter for the games that I'm telling. And this is a very easy way to involve your players in making your story more interesting and more dynamic. I do have a couple of quick pointers if you'd like to do something like this to help generate random encounters for your game. For this to be successful, you want to communicate well with your players. And one thing that you want to stress when you are creating this random encounter deck of index cards is random encounters don't have to be good, don't have to be bad, they can be anything. You really want your players to see this process as an opportunity to open up a wide variety of stories. Just because your player drew a particular card doesn't mean that a story automatically has to be good or automatically has to be bad. For example, if one of your players drew a hearts card, a default assumption would be this is obviously going to be a good story. But even a casual glance at storytelling throughout history can tell you not every love story has a happy ending. So not every story that involves love is necessarily going to be a positive story that might get dropped into your game. But when your player draws that heart, they have the option to write inspiration for any kind of story that falls under that general category. Ergo, a player who draws hearts may write a card that says, helping parents find their missing child. Or, helping a child find their favorite pet. By the same token, one of your players may write something that is a more sorrowful take on a tale of love. Maybe your players have a random encounter with a grieving widow. In all 4 of these categories, your players have a choice, they have an opportunity to give you different types of stories that can be dropped into the game. So definitely make it a point to communicate with your players that they have creative freedom. Just because it's a tale of gain doesn't mean that the party is going to be happy to get it. One of my players totally wrote down a cursed item as a random encounter inside of my random encounter box. Guys, if you're watching this video, I can't wait to draw that one. The other tip that I would give you in generating a deck of random encounter cards is you as the DM, you want to go ahead and kind of seed the box a little bit yourself. Come up with some ideas, come up with some things that you want to put into the box so that the players don't necessarily know every random encounter that they might get. There's no reason to let them have all the fun, right? Now as a DM, typically what I do is I actually draw 2 or 3 cards when I'm preparing a session, and then I pick one of the cards that I drew that I feel is the most fitting as a random encounter for whatever story I'm telling. And yes, as a throwback to the start of this video, the dire corgi did make an appearance in one of my games. But you don't have to feel constrained or restricted to a single card that you happen to draw. Look at these cards as a source of inspiration for different types of encounters that you might have. Another thing I'll say as a DM is don't be afraid to try this. You will be surprised at both the creativity and, we'll just go ahead and say, the cruelty of your players. I remember when I first thought about using this to create random encounters, I really worried that the players were just going to give themselves a whole bunch of really nice encounters. And there are definitely cards like a traveling merchant or a long lost friend. There are definitely nice cards that are included in my random encounter box. But I have to say my players are more than willing to throw some dangerous encounters into the mix. Quite often, my players will put monsters that they really want to encounter during the course of the game in as a random encounter card. And there have been plenty of times where one of my players has done something to make an NPC angry in a game, and at the end of that session, I will get a random encounter card slid back to me of angry NPC shows back up seeking revenge. I have found that my players have really latched onto this. I get a lot of varied, unique, and creative ideas out of this, and it's been a lot of fun for my gaming table. So again, this was a short video, a simple video, but this has been one of the most entertaining ways of generating random encounters that I have ever found as a DM. Use a deck of playing cards and give your players an opportunity to tell a tale of love, a tale of pain, a tale of loss, or a tale of gain, and you might be surprised just what sort of stories get added to the campaign that you are telling. But that's all I've got for today, so let me throw the conversation over to you. As a storyteller, what are some of the best tips and tricks you have found for creating interesting random encounters at your gaming table? Have you tried a system like this, or have you seen other systems for random encounters that have worked really well for you? Leave your thoughts down in the comment below. If you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to share the video as well. But thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a part of this conversation. Have a wonderful day.